مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك.
A common confusion that many people have is that they ask the question that if God is good, why is there evil in the world? Why is there suffering in this world? Why is there injustice in this world if God is good? So we would posit that there is no dilemma in this matter. There's no dilemma in this matter at various levels. Firstly, who is God? Right? We affirm unequivocally that God is the necessary existent, the necessary being. God is the one who chose to create creation. Right? And it is His choice how creation is. Right? Had God chosen to make creation just make the whole universe like fireworks, right? They explode and disappear, and they explode and disappear, it would be up to God. Right? If God had chosen to make all of existence firewood, right? That was just self-combusting, it's up to God, right? Because He is the one who has created it, He is the one who's sustaining it. And as God tells us in the Quran, لا يسأل عما يفعل. He is not questioned about what He does. وهم يسألون. But rather it is they who will be asked. Right? God is the one who can choose to do whatsoever He wills. And none has a demand on God. And then that's the first part. Who is God? Right? God can do whatever He wills. The second question to ask, that what do we mean when we say that God is good? The danger of using human language to talk about God is that language is limiting. Right? Language is limiting. Because humans ascribe meanings to words according to our perception and consciousness. But God is far greater than our perception and consciousness. What is good? What is bad? What is injustice? All of these do not relate to God. They relate to human beings and the choices we make. God can do whatever He wills. There is no injustice with respect to God. There's nothing that is bad with respect to God. He can do whatever He wills. None has a demand on God. Injustice is denying something to another that is rightfully theirs. Injustice is to transgress the rights another possesses. So injustice is the denial of right or the transgression of right. But if you pause and consider who is God and what is creation, does creation have any claim on God? And the answer is no, it doesn't. Rather, what we understand, then we ask ourselves the question, so what is good and bad? We say good and bad relate to the choices of those morally responsible. Justice and injustice relates to the choices and actions of those morally responsible, not to the acts of God. God can do whatever He wills. But then, why are there things that are distressful in this life, that are displeasing in this life? How does that relate to the idea that God is good? We say that God is merciful. God is merciful. But part of that mercy of God is that He has made this life as a test. It is part of divine mercy that He has made this life and all that happens in it as a test. Where is the mercy in the test? The mercy in the test is manifest through the response of the one who is tested. The mercy in existence, in the trials, in the tribulations, in the difficulties, in the distresses, is manifest through the choices of those who are tested. Allah Most High tells us in the Quran, in Surah Al-Mulk, الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. God is the one who has created both death and life, and all that it contains of good and bad, distressful and pleasing matters, to test you. And what is the test? To test you which of you is best in response. So when wrongful things happen, this is a test for the person wronged, for the wrongdoer, and those who witness the wrong. How do you respond to it in a manner that is pleasing to God? That is where good is manifest. That is where bad is manifest. That's where justice is manifest. That's where injustice is manifest. And that's the underlying wisdom in the way things are. Everything in our lives, everything in existence is a test from God to see who will respond best. And that response has next worldly consequences. Part of understanding why there's evil in this world and why there are trials in this world is that we affirm that there's a hereafter. And how you responded in this life to those tests has eternal consequences. And there's a hereafter. And in that hereafter, no one will get away with the slightest wrong or injustice. The one who does an atom's weight of good will behold it. And the one who does an atom's weight of wrong will behold it. Because God is just, but His justice is ultimately manifest in His reckoning in the hereafter. But He is also merciful. Okay? Because that's a perfect balance of the divine names. He is Al-Adl, He is the just, but He's also Ar-Rahim, He is the merciful. So that's how we understand that yes, there is evil in this world, there is injustice, but the believer is not troubled by it because they see that not only is injustice and evil a test, but the greater test is very often the good and pleasing things in this life. They're a test. That the one who is oppressed, they know that they need to turn to God, typically. But the one who is blessed, who has health and wealth and opportunity in life, who has success, that too is a test. And what is the test in all of it? Will you turn to God? Will you respond in a manner that is pleasing to God? So that's how the believer sees it. When the tsunami happened, for example, in the previous decade in Indonesia and surrounding areas, there's some people who said this, for example, the Archbishop of Canterbury, the head of the Church of England, declared publicly that this shook my belief in God. That how could there be something so calamitous happening? But when you see simple believers who are about to drown or were close to drowning in the tsunami, and some of these videos were put up on YouTube, how were they responding? They didn't see this as evil. They saw this as a test from God. What is in the test? You don't worry. Why is the test this way? If you have an exam, what do you worry? You worry about how do I give the right response? And if you give the right response, it doesn't matter whether the question was nice or bad. In both ways, if you responded right, you will have a right result. And that's what our faith gives us. That this life and all that that happens in it, faith, belief, religion, spirituality, is not about some kind of fleeting happiness that if you believe, everything will go well in your life. It won't. The nature of this life is that it is testing, it is trial, it is tribulation, it is difficulty. Happiness and sadness, ease and difficulty, good and bad, alternate in our lives and in our world like night and day, like the seasons. But through all of it, what does faith do? Faith makes us understand what is the purpose of all of that. The purpose of all of that is لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. That God will try you as to which of you is best in response. And consider the wisdom of the trials of the prophets. Whether you're a Muslim or a person of any of the Abrahamic religions. We believe in a common lineage of prophets. Every prophet was tested and tried. Our beloved prophet, peace and blessings be upon him, tells us the people God tests most intensely are the prophets, then the foremost after them, and then the foremost after them. Right? If religion was only about good things, look at the life of Jesus Christ. Look at the life of Moses. Look at the life of Abraham. Look at the life of all the previous prophets. Look at the life of our beloved prophet, who even before he was born, he lost his father while his mother was pregnant. He was just a young child when his mother died. Then his grandfather died. And one after the other he lost. Then his wife died. His uncle died who was taking care of him. He was expelled from his own city. He never asked, oh Lord, why have you forsaken me? Rather, trials are an opportunity for honor. Trials are an opportunity of honor. If you respond with faith by seeing it from God, you respond through submission by responding in a way pleasing to God. And you see the opportunity in it, that this is an opportunity to be beloved to God through responses that are beautiful and beloved. That's why we see no problem of evil. We see evil and injustice as opportunities for us to respond with good. If we see injustice, we respond with justice, with virtue, in beautiful ways. And that is our trial. And if we respond in that way, then we find divine mercy. This is why every chapter of the Quran opens with the declaration, Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, in the name of God, the all-merciful and the specifically merciful. That's normally translated. Ar-Rahman and Ar-Rahim are both from mercy, from Rahmah. Rahman is the encompassingly merciful. And God is merciful to all creation. He is the one who has created everything. He is the one who's sustaining everything. But He's also the particularly merciful, the Rahim. And that particular mercy is manifest to those who respond right to the circumstances of our life that God sends as trials. And that is the mercy of trials. May God make us of those who attain unto His particular mercy through right response, through faithful response, through pleasing response, through virtuous response, through responses that are beloved and that are a means for us to behold God through those trials. Walhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen.